as I have said yesterday also, that poetry, what is poem? We all read poem. There are different type of poems prescribed in your book, and not only in your book. If you are a book lover, if you are a poetry lover, if you are an art lover, then definitely you love to read poems. Doesn't matter in which language it is. Even in Hindi you can appreciate a poem, but it is very important for you to know that why a poem is written, what is the purpose. As I said yesterday, that when you read a poem, there are three different way to read it and to analyze it, or maybe you can say to appreciate it. First of all, definitely you need to know about its literal meaning. Literal meaning means what? That you should know about the meaning in your own language, okay? And what is the basic literal meaning of the poem. Then simultaneously you also try to find out that why this poem has been written. What was the purpose of this poem? What type of poem it is? I quoted one example, that Road Not Taken. That was a poem which was an autobiographical poem by Robert Frost, where actually he explained that how indecisive he was when he has to select or when he has to take an important decision of his life. Then we have Wind, a poem which is actually a message to youth, to whoever who is actually, wasting their energy. Then we have a poem like Rain on the Roof, which is very emotional, and that poem is actually telling you that how old memories, especially memories related to your mother, is so precious for you and you want to treasure it in your heart forever. Then you are also going to read in the next classes, you will read poem like funny poem Duck and Kangaroo, then patriotic poem No Men Are Foreign, where you will talk about the universal brotherhood, okay, that how this entire world is one. Then we have again an emotional poem about death, A Slumber Did My Spirit Seal. So every poem, and funny poems also, like as I told you, Duck and Kangaroo is also there. And then the story of, but that is not in your class, 10th, the day, Tale of Custard the Dragon. So many poems are there which you need to know. But before reading a poem, so many things comes to your mind. As I told you, that poem has literal meaning, first of all. Then poem has also metaphorical explanation, okay, expression, that how or what the poet wants to convey through this. And then we have symbolical meaning, that what is the symbolism of poem, like poem Wind, okay, that what was the symbolism. That means he wanted to appeal to youth that listen, channelize your energy, don't waste it, don't make fun. If you will remain weak, people are going to crush you, so be strong. So these are the ways by which we can appreciate poems. I also asked you that if you start appreciating poem, first of all, you need to know about how the poem has been written, because poem is not simply written. What they do, they use literary devices in order to beautify the poem. Okay, like you can say alankar. अलंकार, फिगर ऑफ स्पीच, व्हाट डज इट मीन? दैट अलंकृत करते हैं, कल बताया था ना मैंने, अलंकार यूज करते हैं. सो इन वेरी फ्यू वर्ड्स, अलंकार का काम क्या होता है, दैट इन लिमिटेड नंबर ऑफ वर्ड्स they are trying to convey more and more. And in this manner, not only you are able to understand what the poet wants to write in this, as well as you also know in the limited words, because poem has to be small, बहुत लंबा लेंदी नहीं लिखना है, it's not like fiction, it's not like a big story. Okay, so in the limited word, the poet has to express lot of feelings. Then also poem has one wonderful thing, that if you read a poem, then what happens, you become emotional, so it develops feeling and sensitivity. Eh, definitely it helps you to be have a good speaking power, a listening skill, definitely enhances your vocabulary. These are the things. But apart from that, poetry makes you a sensible human being. So these are the reasons. That's why I wanted to know that what type of literary devices are used whenever a poem is written. So today I'm going to discuss about it. So sit with your pen and paper, and I would like you to note it down. So as I told you that why you need to appreciate very quickly. I just want to tell you, already I have discussed it in the previous class, that poetry takes a simple concept and makes it more powerful and beautiful because it is a small, it is a form of expression. It helps us understand and appreciate the world around us. Poetry teaches us how to live because you become sensitive. It can have a positive impact on social and emotional learning of children because when you read a poem which has a purpose, which has a meaning, definitely it helps you to grow as a human being. It also changes the concept of mind, and obviously it gives new dimension to life. So when you are reading poetry, it will help you to grow as a better and bigger human being. Now, I already discussed about it, that elements, imagery. Imagery is what you, when you start creating pictures or images in your mind while reading a poem or any piece of work. So that is. And then we have rhythm. Rhythm is the most important thing of a poem because most of the time you always feel that without rhyme scheme, a poem cannot be written. But no, it's not so. You can write poetry in the form of free verse. Okay, and the finest example of free verse is Rabindranath Tagore's Gitanjali. It is not written in any rhythm, but still it has so many rhyme. You can say it is full of rhythm. Okay, and then you have a poem like Wind also. So it is not essential always. And then we are coming to this, that what is literary devices? Basically, literary devices presents ordinary things in fresh ways, in limited words, and communicate ideas that go beyond words' ordinary meanings. So that is the job of literary devices, to beautify, to make your poem, to make any literary piece, beautiful. Now let's come to the examples because I want all of you to know about the example of literary device. Now, this is the most common and the simple literary device, which is known as simile. I think you all know about simile. Raise your hand if you have heard about it. Simile, you all know? Fine, very good. So I think this is common, and teachers in previous classes, yes, they have already discussed about it, simile. But still, I would like to tell you what is simile. Basically, a word or phrase that compares something to something else, and how it is easy to identify simply because whenever two things are compared, they have always used words like or as. So you can simplify the definition that when two things are compared, if you want to note it down, please note it down. When two things are compared with the words, and then single inverted comma, write down like or as, like, like, or as, that is known as simile. So that is known as simile. When two things are compared with the words like or as. Okay, so it is basically, that is known as simile. Very easy. Now you have one example here. Oh, my love is like a red, red rose. Definitely, directly he has said that his love is as beautiful. Rose is the symbolism of beauty. No. So his love is also as beautiful as a red rose. Then you can also write down, he is like a lion. So lion is means what? Lion is actually an epitome of elegance, ferociousness, strength, power. So if someone is saying he's like a lion, that means that person is also having that, maybe that power, strength, ferociousness, maybe anger, because lion are also known for anger. So for whatever, so when you compare two things with the word like or as, it is known as simile. See the spelling. Simile. So be careful. Okay, so now you all know that what is simile. Simple, clear. You will never, it's very easy to identify. Wherever you will see that something is compared, और कंपैरिजन से पहले क्या लिखा हुआ है, like या as, then very easily, very quickly you will come to know that it is a simile wherever it is. Okay, very interesting. You know, simile is such a figure of speech that compares two different things in an interesting way, very interestingly, very easily, and it is very easy to identify simile. Wherever there is simile, you will be able to understand. Now, few examples, if you want to note it down, it's okay. You were as brave as a lion. If you are saying, so as I told you, lion means you are comparing him like lion. Lion, which is a symbol of strength, power, anger. You can also say, oh, they are fighting like cats and dogs. Cats and dogs. So you have seen how a cat and dog is fighting. So like, okay. Then you can also say he is as strong as an ox. Ox, you know, they are known to be very strong. So he is as strong. Okay. In this manner, a lot of examples are there of simile. When you will go through the poem, you will get it to know. As cute as a kitten, as happy as a calm, as light as a feather. So these are the examples. Okay, the guy is as naughty as a, yeah, you can say the as naughty as a monkey, or simply you can say that he is like a monkey. That means monkey is restless, monkey is naughty. So in this manner, it is very easy to identify simile, because whenever two things are compared, it is compared with the words like and as. Now let's move to the next. Okay, any question you have? Yes, Rijaja, very nice. The bride looked like a rose, because rose is the symbolism of beauty. So you will come to know. Now metaphor. Metaphor and simile, they are both alike, but what is the major difference? That when two things are compared without like or as, means direct, when two things are directly compared, they are known as metaphor. A subtle comparison in which an author or anyone describes a person or thing using words that are not meant to be taken literally. Okay, so subtle comparison it is known as. Directly it is, yes. Basically, listen, what is a funny thing about metaphor and simile? That metaphor is known as direct comparison and simile is known as indirect. But somewhere you will find it out that they used to write down that simile is a direct comparison and metaphor is an indirect. But the major difference which you have to keep it in your mind is that both literary devices, they are used for comparing things, but simile it is easy to identify, because simile has is compared with like and as, and metaphor is not compared like that. Yes, Akansha, you are right, he is line of class. So you can say, see, one sentence I will use and you will be able to identify. As you said, she is as pretty as red rose. So here, this is simile. She is as pretty as red rose. So as is there, so very easily you will be able to identify the literary device, that is as. But if a person is saying, she is a red rose, that means a person cannot be a red rose. It's not magic is going on. That means red rose is again a symbolism or equal to beauty. No, it's very beautiful, it's very elegant, it's very delicate. So whenever you are saying she is a red rose, that means you are comparing her elegance, her beauty, her delicacy to what? To a red rose. Okay, if you say he is as brave as a lion or he is like a lion, so as I told you, he is brave like a lion. And if you are saying he is lion of his class, so basically what that means, he is the most bravest boy of his class. So this is the difference between simile and metaphor. They both are used to compare things, but simile जहां होगा वहां like और as लगेगा, और मेटाफर में ऐसा नहीं होगा, डायरेक्ट लिख देंगे. जैसे जब बताया मैंने, शी इज एज प्रिटी एज रेड रोज एंड शी इज रेड रोज. ही इज लायन ऑफ हिज क्लास एंड ही इज as brave as lion. Okay, now see here some examples are there. All the world's a stage. Now here the world is compared to what? Stage. So agar isko he is, this world is as a stage, then that is a simile, but here it is simply written all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players, they have exit. This is a very famous poem by William Shakespeare. Okay, Seven Ages. ये हम लोग पढ़ाते थे 9th में. Previously when we were following English course A, there we used to teach this poem. Very interesting poem. It is actually an excerpt from drama As You Like It. All the world's stage and all the men and women merely players, they have their exits and entrances. So if you get an opportunity, net pe mil jayega is poem ko padhna. Very interesting. Okay. She calls me tofu because I'm so soft. Tofu, you know, it's like paneer, cottage cheese. So she calls me tofu because I'm so soft, easily falling apart. I wish I were dough and full of fire like ginger, like her. So this is the, so whenever things are compared, two things are compared with the words like and as, that is simile. And if it is with not compared with these words, but there is a comparison, then it is metaphor. Clear children? समझ आ गया यहाँ पे? Raise your hands. अगर simile metaphor का difference, very good. Then we will move to the next. अब extended metaphor मैं अभी आपको नहीं बताऊंगी. Now come to this personification. What is personification? I know that many of you might be knowing about it. It is a figurative language in which non-human things or abstractions are represented as human, having human qualities. अब यहाँ पे क्या मतलब है? Anything you can, if you are treating that particular object, whether it is an abstract thing or whether it is a non-living thing, okay, and but if you are treating that thing like human being, that is known as personification. That is known as personification. How? I will tell you. If you remember poem Rain on the Roof, याद है? Melancholy, darkness. Melancholy means sad, darkness or night. So that darkness has been used, treated as a human being. कि रात उदास थी. तो रात कैसे उदास थी भाई? बिकॉज रात को हमने क्या किया था? मानवीकरण, पर्सोनिफाई कर दिया था. हिंदी में पढ़ते हो गए. सो दैट इज नोन एज पर्सोनिफिकेशन. जैसे अगर इसमें क्या है? एंग्री पटना, रेजिंग पटना. पटना बहुत गुस्से में है. Now we all know that Patna is not a human, but yeah, we basically want to tell you, ये एक symbol है that we are talking about the people of Patna. That Patna is angry because of what? Because of many other reasons. Okay, raising clouds. बहुत गुस्से में बादल आ गया. So यहाँ पे क्या हो गया कि we have personified that cloud. In fact, you can also say like this, that my pen gets angry because I have been using it for last 12 hours continuously. So if my pen has become tired. अब यहाँ pen को आपने क्या कर दिया? You have personified that non-living object. And if you are personifying any non-living object, then you can also do one thing. What? You can use he or she, because you are treating it like a human being. तो अगर मान लो पेन है, तो पेन के लिए हम लोग लिखते क्या थे? This is a pen. It is made of steel, या maybe plastic. But if you have personified a pen, then you can use he or she for it. That my pen gets angry because I have been using it for last 12 hours. And now he is feeling tired. So why you have used he there? Because you have personified it. So personification is a literary device where you are using, yes, you have to ask something. Yeah, the breeze whispers. Very good. Flowers are dancing. Very good, children. I love this. So, flowers. So, when you personify things, then what happens? Raising cloud, as I told you, angry Patna, sleeping London. Okay. So, when you personify things, then you are putting human object in that, and you are treating it like what? Like human being. Okay, so this is very important for you. If you remember a poem like Wind, if you remember it very well, what have you done? याद है Wind poem? Personification you used there. How? Because wind has been personified when the poet said you are. So basically he is referring to wind as you. That means he is treating wind as a person. If you remember the poem Wind, there you will feel that how wind has been personified. So anything, example you have, necessity is the mother of invention. So this is one example, but you have lot of examples, and while going through the poems you will also identify this interesting literary device. Now clear children? Is it clear? Raise your hand, then I will move ahead. सपोज समझ आ गया ना? पर्सोनिफिकेशन क्या है? मानवीकरण, किसी चीज को हम मानव के जैसा ट्रीट करें, वेदर इट इज नॉन लिविंग थिंग और एनी एब्स्ट्रैक्ट फीलिंग, दे आर दैट इज नोन एज पर्सोनिफिकेशन. वेरी गुड. नाउ आई एम कमिंग, पहले मैं इसको ही बता दूं. चलो, हाइपरबोल. नाउ व्हाट इज हाइपरबोल? यू नो, एग्जैजरेशन. एग्जैजरेशन समझते हो? टू एग्जैजरेट थिंग. एग्जेजरेशन, यू नो, व्हेन यू कोई भी चीज को जब आप बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोलते हैं, या एग्जेजरेशन. व्हाट डज इट मीन? व्हेन यू आर सेइंग समथिंग व्हिच इज, मतलब यू आर एक्चुअली ट्राइंग टू से समथिंग बट यू आर एग्जेजरेटिंग इज, बहुत बढ़ा चढ़ा के बोल दिया. आई थिंक मुझे याद है हिंदी में इसे हम लोग कहते हैं व्हाट, यू नो, अतिशयोक्ति अलंकार. यू नो, अतिशयोक्ति मतलब कोई चीज को बहुत बढ़ा के बोलना. बेसिकली यस, वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग. या हाँ, बड़ा चढ़ा के. सो नाउ लिसन, a way of speaking. Hyperbole is that literary device. See, it is written here also, an intentional and extreme exaggeration for emphasis or effect. So a way of speaking or writing that makes something sound better, maybe more exciting, more bigger than its real thing. So that is known as hyperbole. Now hyperbole is actually very interesting, बहुत interesting है, and most of the time we are using it in our day to day life also. You know how you are, कभी कभी आप अपने घर में नहीं बोलते हो माँ को, मैं मैं तो 10 घंटे से पढ़ रहा हूँ. इवन इफ यू हैव नॉट बीन स्टडिंग फॉर लास्ट 10 hours, मैं तो कितने, तो तुम्हें लगेगा, देन ऑल्सो यू विल से द सेम थिंग. सी वन एग्जाम्पल, वन वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग एग्जाम्पल इज हियर. व्हाट यू नो, अब this books weighs a ton. Oh, अब a ton, ton सोच रहे हो ना? So what you are doing, you are simply trying to tell, you are simply trying to convey this message that this book is actually very heavy, but not a ton, but you are simply saying that this book is very heavy. एक बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, जैसे कि वेट आप किसी का कर रहे हैं, तो हम लोग क्या कहते हैं, या हिंदी मूवीज, यू नो, हिंदी सॉन्ग्स. In most of the Hindi songs, you will see that hyperbole has been used frequently. मैं तुम्हें सदियों से प्यार करता हूँ. Is it possible to love someone from last so many ages? So what does it mean? The meaning is very clear. Actually, the poet wants to convey that I love him more than anything in my life. But what is he saying? सदियों से. I have been waiting for you for ages. मैं सदियों से इंतजार कर रहा हूँ. So for ages means he is exaggerating that, oh, how much time you took. I have been waiting you for long hours. So basically, hyperbole is when you use language to exaggerate what you meant or emphasize. Okay? So you can also say that a lot of things every day you can use, and it is very easy to identify a hyperbole. This figure of speech, or you can say literary device, that creates heightened effect, you know, through, you can say, basically deliberate exaggeration. And that is why it is very easy to identify it. Very simple. Now, what happens if someone is trying to say something which is not applicable? then you can very easily understand that it is a hyperbole, it is an exaggeration. Okay, very easily that I have a million things to do today. मम्मी जब कहती है ना मुझे हजारों काम करने हैं और तुम लोग मेरा तंग कर रहे हो, तो what does she mean? हजारों means not exactly हजारों, but she meant to say, she is simply trying to tell you that she has to complete a lot of work. Okay, so this is the way when people are saying exaggerating things. No, oh I'm tired like anything, oh बहुत tired hai. So these are the things. If someone is very hungry, तो एक idiom use कर लेता है, I'm so hungry I could eat a horse. What does it mean? In truth, that person wouldn't be able to eat a whole horse. It's such a big thing. But he is using this phrase to show to the people that he is extremely hungry. So whenever any idea is being exaggerated, that is known as hyperbole. Clear, children? Very clear. Atishayokti Alankar. Now, see repetition. Repetition is very simple. There is a difference between refrain and repetition. तो पहले repetition को देखो. Repetition is when an author repeat a word, phrase, sentence or a stanza. Why? For effect or emphasis. मैंने कहा ना, whenever thing is being repeated, घर में मम्मी जब आपको 2 बार कोई चीज बोल दे, बार बार बोल दे, then the alarm will start ringing that something is wrong, mama is extremely angry, है ना, mummy is angry, that's why she is repeating. So repetition is, that means she is emphasizing, तुम्हें ये करना होगा, करना ही होगा, so that is repetition. So whenever there is some repeated word, a course or refrain, that basically it is repeated very without any gap, that means the thing the poet wants to emphasize, the writer wants to make it emphatic, he is emphasizing. Now see, there is a very interesting poem. If you have to dry the dishes, oh, and then bracket it is such an awful boring chore. Household chores are actually boring. If you have to dry the dishes instead of going to the store, oh, if you have to dry the dishes and you drop one on the floor, so these 3 lines, it is being repeated. So repetition, man, that means he is emphasizing that yeah, he has to do this household chores, and it is very boring for him. He wanted to go out, even to the store. He want to do something else, but not this. So you will find it out in poems also, that somehow, sometimes it is repeated. And if it is a repetition, then what will happen? The poet wants to, even not in the poem, even in the stories. So basically, the poet is trying to emphasize the thing. So repetition is a literary device that involves intentionally using a word or phrase for effect, maybe 2 or more times a speech or in a poem. And you know, whenever there is a repetition, it becomes noticeable. It becomes noticeable because the person wants to emphasize on this particular thing. It is generally used in speech, in poem, okay? If a poet is saying, oh, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. That means he is using it. He is using it in order to emphasize that thing, okay? And it is very important, literary device. So whenever a poet is trying to create emphasis, he is using it significantly every time. You will find it in the poems, repetition. Okay, you want to ask something? I have told you this 100 times. Yeah, this is okay. Very good. I have loved you. No, alliteration is something different, beta. I will explain you in the next class. So time is running, and